Okay, Terry is also Boys and Girls Club, so those are both,
Okay.
whenever we're ready, we can let them in.
Should we just go for it?
Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, I'm gonna turn my video off and my audio off, and we'll let them in, and you can do your thing. And I'll send you time updates. So once I'll start the timer once after you finish introductions. Once they start presenting, I'll hit the timer.
Okay.
So, cool.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes,
excellent.
definitely.
Great. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Sarah. I'm the chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and I'm also joined here by Edith and Lori. And we may have one more board member joining as well. But
yeah, same with us. We're waiting for one person. We had 5:10 on our calendar, so we didn't. We're all kind of texting each other, asking, "Are we on yet?"
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we just starting early, but certainly
fine.
All right.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll have
Great.
about 3 minutes for you to present, and then 5 minutes after for questions.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to come talk with you today, at least sort of in person. Last year or 2 years ago, I guess it was, me and a partner from the Lakewood branch presented to the City Council. Really enjoyed that opportunity. I'm Terry Moore, and I represent the philanthropy team of the Boys and Girls Clubs of South Puget Sound. Joining me today on the call is Chrisney Padot. She has quite a history with the Boys and Girls Clubs in that she was a Boys and Girls Club kid who has made her way all the way to the White House with her winning the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year competition. And we're so proud because about 1 year ago, she was named the branch manager position of the Lakewood Boys and Girls Club. We couldn't be prouder of her. Joining soon will be Tanya. She is relatively new to the Boys and Girls Clubs. She is the director of philanthropy, and she has been assigned the Lakewood territory. She comes to us from about 13 years with Multicare, so we're incredibly proud and excited to have her. So I talk fast, so I'll kind of just keep going. Maybe just pop your hand up if you have any questions, though. Sure. So we presented a proposal to you for your thoughtful consideration. But before we do that, we have to thank you so much for the previous support you have given. Believe it or not, it's not typical really for government organizations to support nonprofits in the way that you do, the City of Lakewood. So we're really grateful to you for your support, and it really matters. So this proposal today in front of you is called the LIFT Project, which basically we're asking for $20,000 to basically lift families out of poverty. Really? And here's Tanya. So Tanya is joining us. She is the person I was describing who's on the call. Anyway, we are trying to lift families. It's what we do. It's core to our mission in that we support kids who need us most. It's part of our core mission. We do that in a variety of ways, but think of it as we provide a healthy, vibrant, quality programming for youth ages 6 to 18 at the Lakewood Boys and Girls Clubs, so that parents and families, caregivers, foster parents can be assured that their children are in safe hands. So that's the core of what we do. So of course, when the pandemic hit, I need to say we started 2020 just strong. Our average daily attendance was growing. We were filling up the club every day. Chrisney was doing a great job with the kids that we serve. We had come off an amazing holiday extravaganza for 300 kids. They each took home presents. Their parents took home presents from a very thoughtful donor. And then 2020 started, we were very hopeful. And then March happened and the schools closed. But the good news is within 7 days, I'm so proud to report that we had stood up 2 emergency day camps for children of first responders, medical providers, and essential workers. And they were provided at no charge to their families. At the same time, just a few days later, it's just shocking how quickly this happened. We were able to start offering Club to Go kits, which is at-home activities for families to do, and they were broken into elementary and teen years. And then other things that happened is we set up a family support resiliency fund, and that was so our family support worker, who is a Lakewood resident, Diana Sullivan, who is a marriage and family therapist, was able to reach out to families and say, hey, how can we help? What do you need? And she was able to literally do drop off of things that they couldn't get help for, not necessarily food, but sometimes food. But what really surrounded it was things that you can't, that hygiene products. One family had a pest problem. And so we were able to help provide some pest deterrents for that family. Oh, so many stories. And then also Lakewood was the hub of some meals to go programs. So we provided healthy snacks and meals for not just Boys and Girls Club kids, but entire families and then community members. Now, all of this was provided really quickly and it wasn't planned in our budget. So we'll talk a little bit more about how we're serving kids now that fall has started. We had a really busy summer and fall has started. And Christine, why don't you take it away and describe what you're doing at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lakewood right now?
Currently, we've extended our hours. Typically in our budget, we budget for about 8 weeks of 11-hour-a-day programming. That has been extended because we really want to fill the need of our community. We want to ensure that our parents and our caregivers can make it to work, they can make it to school, do everything to make sure that our community's economy is moving forward. And then we're also wanting to provide a safe space for kids. And we're in a new arena. We're actually providing academic support in a capacity that we've never had before. We're helping our children as they're doing virtual learning, working very closely with Clover Park, staying in contact with educators and making sure that members are logging on and having an environment conducive to virtual learning, while also helping them try to have some sense of normalcy, giving them opportunities for social interaction, opportunities for play, all while maintaining safety standards. We're serving communities still through our grab and go meals. We also have a partnership with the Pacific Coast Food Company where our site acts as a hub where community members can come and grab a food box. And with our grab and go meals on Fridays, we actually pack 6 meals. So we're ensuring that our community members are fed throughout the weekend, even when we're not in operation. And then just to echo off of what Terry said, we're still providing toiletries to families who are in need, cleaning supplies, which are so necessary now during the time of COVID, and even some clothing items such as socks and things to keep our family warm. So we're trying to do everything we can to still support our community and rise to the needs of our community members. And one of our largest focus is helping our members by providing social emotional learning programming. We've done this through the Positive Action Program. And so it helps members gain the tools for emotional regulation. And it also has an academic focus. So it pairs nicely with our model where we're currently helping kids with their virtual learning, but we're also addressing that need again for social interaction. Many members have expressed feeling withdrawn or disconnected because of the safety measures in place due to COVID. And I'm just really proud of the work that we're doing and rising to the challenge of meeting the needs of our community in those ways.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're just coming to the end of the time and want to make sure. Lori, did you have any questions? Oh, sorry, it looks like you're on mute. Oh, still can't hear you. Let's see. You can try texting me in the chat, Lori, if that is the question. I'll really appreciate your presentation. It's great to share. It sounds like.
Well, any questions? Yeah, no questions.
No questions. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity and the honor to be here. We wish we could spend more time talking about it because
Absolutely.
It's a long day for all of our staff and kids, and they're amazing. So thank you and good luck with your reviewing process.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you
Yes,
being
thank
here.
you so very much. We appreciate you.
Oh,
Hi, Deanne.
hi, sorry about that. I just didn't
No
realize
worries.
what time it was, so I apologize for being late. Can you hear me okay on my side?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not at home, so I just want to make sure that I had a good connection.
Nate is from CareerPath Services, so whenever you want to bring him in, you can.
Okay.
Although he might have one more person joining him, but. Sarah, did that work with me sending you those timers?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Nate.
What did I do?
Hi. Looks like you just got the audio connection. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, I sure can.
Hi. Perfect. I know we're a little bit early, so
Really fine.
okay. Let's get started then. My name is Sarah. I'm the chair of the City of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and I'm joined this evening by board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne. So
Awesome.
we'd love to hear from you. We have about 3 minutes for you to share about your program, and then we'll have about 5 minutes for questions after.
Great. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. One of the representative from our organization may try to join too. Her name is Sarah, so you all
Okay,
know if you
sure.
want to let her in. She's just, was going to try to join as well, just to meet you all. So great. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and get started then if that's what you're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, fantastic. So we believe the city of Lakewood needs a workforce development system. A system that plays well with all of its partners towards a confident, equitable, skilled, empowered, and trained workforce. This system connects resources like SNAP, WorkSource, TANF, short-term trainings, the community colleges, peers, places like that, and provides not a warm handoff, but a red-hot handoff to employment opportunities. A system that can navigate a COVID-19 pandemic while still meeting customer and employer needs. Lakewood needs, I believe, a career navigation boost program. So we are CareerPath Services, and my name is Nate Mazuka. I am the Western Washington Regional Director of our programs. And if she makes it, our Director of Transitional Jobs, Sarah Featherly, was planning to join us as well from our Spokane Regional Office. So our program proposal has grown out of nearly 10 years of being rooted and located in the city of Lakewood, and within the community service office near the town center. So in the months leading up to COVID, we did actually open a brick and mortar location right off of Gravelly Lake Drive. But again, we've been here for 10 years, and we know that the city of Lakewood has a 19.3% of its residents living below the poverty line, which is 6 to 7% above the national average. Lakewood needs a city-specific targeted approach to economic opportunity and a pathway towards a solution in the face of homelessness and generational poverty. Not one focused on Tacoma, but one focused on the city of Lakewood. So our idea is to pilot an integrated system informed by local data and labor market information and nimble enough to maintain throughout COVID-19 and beyond. We will engage people into an easy to navigate pathway of workforce development, training, and helps towards an economic reality of higher wages and self-sufficiency. So here's the plan to accomplish this. So our idea is to engage job seekers through our long-standing community partner relationships, our 10 years of co-location at the Community Service or DSHS office, and our partners at WorkSource and Career Team. These relationships have only strengthened since COVID, and our mobile and digital relationships are ready to take on new work and building a long-lasting system. So our Career Navigator will be active in the community, digitally active with our partners, and in social media platforms. So once an individual enrolls in services, we will initially engage them in our soft skill development program, which we call GPS, or Growing Personal Skills. So GPS, like navigation. GPS is a program created here at CareerPath Services after listening to employers about the skills needed for their workforce. So we explore topics like relationships, coping with change, communication, and organization. And these can be accessed in digital platforms. And our new COVID-19 informed computer lending program will allow those with technology barriers to still access these services. We have worked really hard to prepare folks for this new world that we are facing. So now we bring that together here with this career navigation boost, and our customers will experience GPS and then move towards connecting with local events put on by WorkSource called Career Boosts. And our partnership with WorkSource, they have verbally stated that they will put Career Boosts on for us, which are industry-specific events where partner employers and job seekers connect for pathways to employment and training. And finally, our intention is to leverage already existing partnerships with our community colleges for short-term, meaningful trainings that meet the needs of our employer partners. So our idea is a connected system. The city, WorkSource, nonprofits like us, the community colleges, and employers working together. We believe that this is the time to leverage those long-standing relationships and work that we have done in the city of Lakewood. And we believe that this is the right time and the right place to implement this type of program. And I would welcome all of your questions, and I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you. And good evening, Sarah. Looks like had a chance to join us.
No. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Can you talk a little bit about I was going to say conversion rate. I'm not sure if that's the correct terminology, kind of from the pathways you're talking about, the career boosts to employment?
Yeah, so I would, we didn't put a specific number within the proposal because it will be a new program, but here's what I can speak to is the evidence that we have in the programs that we are running within the area of Lakewood. So specifically right now, we are running a program called BankWorks, which is a bank training program specifically targeted at putting folks into bank employment long-term. And we have seen a 62% exit to employment rate. So people who come to the training, 62% of them are entering into employment after that program, which has been amazing. And we have about, I believe the number is 11, I might be wrong by one, but I think it's 11 bank partners who are funding that program for training, pre-employment training into their banks. So we're that strip on Gravelly Lake Boulevard where all those banks are our friends, and we work closely with them. So that's an example. And my hope would be that number plus what our friends at WorkSource are doing and the work that we do right now with our TANF population. If you're familiar with temporary assistance for needy families, are often called welfare. We don't use that term, but the program we run with that population, we see about a 45 to 47% exit to employment rate depending on the year. So somewhere within that frame, I would hope the number would be closer to the higher mark just because we're going to do specific employment training and connect with employers. So I'd love to see that number at about 70%, but we know that individual choice and agency is what's going to make a determining factor at how outcomes go. But that's the ambitious goal that we would set in front of us, something along that line.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Edith?
What is the average age of the person that comes to you for services?
Hi, Edith. Thank you for the question. So we have the majority of our TANF program is a younger population because everybody is a parent. So to qualify for TANF, you would need to be a parent. So we're looking by younger, I mean somewhere in the early 20s to 40 in that range. And And I'm saying that because I'm almost 40, so that makes me feel younger. So I mean it like that. But yeah, in that range is the typical number of folks that we are serving in that demographic. However, we don't have age restrictions on our programs. So my hope would be that the Career Boost navigation program would serve the city of Lakewood however the need presents itself, whether that's a younger population or a population that's more seasoned. When we know during this time with COVID and with the economy the way it is, we'll be serving many dislocated workers, individuals who maybe were in a career pathway that no longer exists. So how can we engage those folks? And oftentimes what we've seen in the last couple of months is that population skews a little bit older, just as folks maybe have been in an industry that doesn't exist anymore and maybe is experiencing trouble. So I think it depends a little bit, but our demographics skew young based on that program. But I don't think in this new program we would have any sort of bracket that says you have to be this or that.
Right. Well, I was just curious on the span of your age.
Especially in our banking
Sounds
program,
good.
we've seen everybody from 18 to 70. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Deanne and Lori, anything else?
I don't have anything else, maybe an observation. CareerPath Services, do they carry any of the WIOA funding in this area as far as working with the youth 16 to 24? You mentioned dislocated workers, which is the WIOA term there.
Sure.
So low-income adults, dislocated workers, but do you have funding? Are you working specifically with the youth population at all in this area?
So no, we have WIOA funding in Spokane County, the Benton Franklin County, and down in the Olympia area. So not in Pierce County, which is probably where you're getting some of the terminology there. However, what I would say is that specifically the idea for this program came from a friendship and a partnership with those who do receive WIOA funding. So our idea in the program would be that after individuals finish this GPS portion, we would hope to see at least 50% and co-enroll with a WIOA program for short-term trainings, for opportunities to be able to work towards a career field of meaning for them. So we have a verbal agreement. We didn't go much beyond that with the WIOA work source providers in Pierce County to say that we would love to be a part of this. And so that term career boost is actually a term used by the WIOA providers in Pierce County. So we're trying to braid their thinking along with ours to create a cohesive program, understanding that so many workforce development programs are created in a silo and not connected. And we really believe that if the city of Lakewood could be an example to Pierce County and other areas, if we create a braided system where we play nice together and work well together, because we're serving the same people to the same end. So I would hope that while we don't represent WIOA funding, that we certainly represent the thinking and the heart behind the work in WIOA. Specifically though, our funding in Pierce County comes from Department of Commerce, TANF, those types of fundings.
And you're going to be pipelining then work first?
I'm sorry, we are unfortunately at time, so I'll have to cut you off there.
Okay.
All right, but thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Sure, thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
So I messaged Alan, who's from CCS, who's waiting in the waiting room, that we might let him in a couple minutes early if he's ready to go. He hasn't responded, but we can let him in. But first, Deanne, did you have any questions about the process before we get back in?
Yeah, I am so sorry for being late. So I want to apologize because I want to respect everybody's time this evening, and I completely apologize for that. So yes, if we could just give me a very brief kind of process for tonight, I will make sure I'm staying within that and not asking additional questions. I apologize for that, Sarah.
No worries. I just got the time message from Brian.
Okay.
So yeah, there isn't really a good way for me to send a message to all of you without sending a message to the presenter. So I've been sending, so they have 3 minutes, they have 8 minutes total. If they go over the 3 minutes for presenting, we're kind of allowing that. That just takes away from their question time. So I'm sending Sarah a message when there's 5 minutes left, and then I'm sending her a message when there's 1 minute left, and Sarah's kind of the moderator. And then to save time, like she's just introducing the advisory board really quickly and then letting them go into the presentation. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
While we're paused here, I'd like to be able to mute myself or turn off my camera during the Greater Lakes presentation. Would one of you be able to moderate through that portion?
Which one? Deanne can do that.
Deanne,
Okay.
you're up.
Okay.
So when we get to Greater Lakes, we'll turn off Sarah's mic and video. So I'll send you, it'll be the same thing. Like I'll just send you the time updates and I'll handle all the technical stuff. I'll let them in. You just introduce the advisory board, let them go. I'll send you when it's 5 minutes, then send you when it's 1 minute, and then I'll remove them from the waiting room or from the room when they're done. So it should be pretty easy.
So I'm just introducing Edith and Lori.
Yep.
Okay.
When we get to Greater Lakes. And the thing I didn't do yet, but I will in a minute, is while Alan is talking, I'm going to add the list of remaining presenters in the chat just so you see who's coming. So for Greater Lakes, we'll do that.
And then how many presenters did I miss then in my tardiness?
Just
two.
Boys and Girls Club. We did not have a presentation
I guess
from
one.
Asia Pacific Cultural Center.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, thank you. Do I have any?
Are you ready for Alan?
Whenever Alan's ready.
Right.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Sounds like we're good to go. Thank you for being here. My name is Sarah. I'm the chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and I'm joined by board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne here this evening. So we'd love to hear your presentation. We'll have about 3 minutes and then 5 minutes for questions. And I'll try and keep track of the time for you.
Great, thank you. You ready?
Yep, whenever you are.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alan Brown, and I'm the Housing Services Director of the Family Housing Network program of Catholic Community Services. Family Housing Network provides a variety of interventions to families and veterans who are experiencing homelessness in Pierce County and the city of Lakewood. These interventions include rapid rehousing, family drop-in day shelter, coordinated entry and homeless diversion, as well as permanent supportive housing. The City of Lakewood Human Services Funding has supported our work with Lakewood families in our day center and also provides vital matching funds for our permanent supportive housing project that is located in Lakewood. Since the pandemic has necessitated some adaptations to our services, but we felt it was a priority to keep our day center open for homeless families so they'd have a place where they could take care of basic needs like showers, laundry, getting lunch, but also getting connected to coordinated entry and assistance toward permanent housing. We did institute some changes in our day center. We instituted a more frequent and thorough cleaning schedule. We set up barriers to encourage distancing. We do basic screening at the door and provide masks to all our guests if they don't have them. Our coordinated entry assessments now occur either over the phone or another electronic device rather than in person. When schools closed in the spring, we wanted to make sure that our parents and families living in our permanent supportive housing units had what they needed to provide for their kids' schooling and to mitigate boredom and cabin fever. So we put together care packages of some donated and purchased items that included things like school supplies, family games, and of course, toilet paper. CCS and Family Housing Network were the recipients of federal CARES dollars, which our program used to shelter families that came to us who had high-risk medical concerns. We sheltered these families in a local hotel while helping them work toward a permanent housing solution. But adapting to ever-changing circumstances is not new to Family Housing Network. We are always challenging ourselves to create the most effective way to assist our neighbors who are in the most need. So I'm ready for your questions.
Edith, was that a question?
Yes. When someone comes to your facility for services, how long does it take approximately for that person to be moved to permanent housing if they qualify and if they're so inclined?
That's a
Just
good
as a
question.
ballpark number. I'm curious.
It varies. Our biggest intervention toward permanent housing is rapid rehousing. And that generally takes from the time somebody comes to our door and has that assessment. Well, actually, by the time they're referred to us for permanent supportive housing, takes generally 40 to 60 days.
Okay.
And it depends on,
Sure.
the barriers they have, but we'll work with criminal backgrounds, eviction histories, bad credit. The more of those, of course, sometimes the longer it takes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Deanna, Lori? Okay, I thought that was very thorough, so I don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you all for your consideration.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
And you likewise.
Bye.
How y'all feeling?
Good.
You
I'm
can-
just having some technical issues. So Brian, thank you for letting me in on my other one.
No problem.
Because, yeah, so I'm getting it figured out.
You guys can go to YouTube and see yourself streaming right now if you want to. No one's watching. There's one person watching and it's me.
Okay, so that's better.
So is that also recorded for later viewing on YouTube?
Yeah, it'll be up there permanently. Yeah. Let's see. So next up will be Carrie from Communities and Schools. She will definitely be on. She emailed me earlier.
Lori, I'm not understanding your question.
Are you asking if Asian Pacific Cultural Center is just not going to end up presenting at all? Yeah. I mean, that's up to them. I think if they contact us and want to get in at the very end or something, then, we'll let them in. But if they don't show up to their scheduled time, then they're just not doing their presentation. There's a chance while Carrie's talking, I'll call and make sure they didn't leave me a voicemail today asking about that, but I haven't received any emails, so.
Okay.
Let's let Carrie in and we can just ask her if she's ready. I guess it's 3 minutes ahead. Let's just let her in, and I think she might be waiting for one more person, but we can ask her if she is, and if she's ready to get started, we can get started with her.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, good evening. No, we're running a little bit early. So if you'd like to start, we can do that. Or if you want to wait a few moments, can certainly do that as well.
I'm ready if you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm Sarah, Chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and joined here by board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne. And we'd love to hear your presentation. We've got about 3 minutes to present and then 5 minutes after for some questions.
Perfect.
So,
well, thanks.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm the Executive Director of Communities and Schools of Lakewood. And we at Communities and Schools of Lakewood believe that all students in Lakewood deserve access to the experiences, the resources, and support that allow them to thrive in school and to reach their full potential no matter what. You'll often hear our team say, when we mean all students, we mean all, no exceptions. As you all know, the last 7 months have been hard. They've been hard for all of us, right? They've created additional barriers, not only to a quality education, but also barriers to behavioral and physical health, economic and housing stability, and just the security that our students have, that come with knowing that you have food in the fridge. Young people are really experiencing increased stress in their families and a collective trauma, which could have long-lasting negative effects for educational and health outcomes for our current cohort of students. The good news is that our young people are resilient, and there's protective factors that build resiliency and can prevent trauma from having a lasting effect. In fact, core to our work at Communities and Schools is teaching and reinforcing social emotional skills, and also connecting young people to caring adults and activities, both of which are proven protective factors against trauma's effect on a young person's brain. Really, relationships are foundational to all of our work and to our theory of change. We use a developmental relationships framework through which young people discover who they are and cultivate their abilities to shape their own life. The supportive, trusting relationships that come with our site coordinators and the relationships they build with students are really at the heart of our service delivery model and are instrumental in helping young people stay in school and persist in the face of adversity. Our site coordinators also leverage community resources. So not just the relationships, but organizations around our community to provide proactive school community supports. In our new context, we've leveraged our relationships and transformed our annual integrated student supports model to meet our students' new reality by bringing it to where they are now at home and transforming our regular supports into 5 distance supports categories. So our site coordinators still continue to go deep and provide individualized and social emotional support through one-on-one case management to about 200 Lakewood students. And then they also provide school community-wide supports. Any student, they don't need to be on our caseload of 200 students, to receive food and basic need supports. We're up to 126 families receiving weekly deliveries of those basic needs, food or other items, and also community resource connection and referral. So, and that serves about 3,000 students at the 4 partner schools that we serve. Yeah, I think that's my time, but I'm excited to answer questions because, of course, there's so much more to the work that we do than what I can share in 3 minutes.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Carrie, a brief question for you. Is Sam Page with you?
Sam Page? Nope.
Yep. Okay. No, I'll leave you alone.
I think it's someone in the waiting room.
So I have a question, and part of that is with the huge impact of virtual learning for families, and you do a lot of the student outreach. What are you doing, or what are you learning about what the families are going through? Parents becoming teachers for the first time, having to manage virtual learning for their students that may not have the skills or the abilities or the technology knowledge to be able to manage that. What kind of support are you providing the family as a whole?
Yeah, and not just knowledge or technology, but even the ability to be there for their students, right? When they're needing to online. I'll preface my answer with saying that I think one of the great things for our services in general during school building closure is that we have built stronger relationships with families and more communication with families than we have ever had before. I think we relied on students coming to school, and of course we would, call home and track them down if they weren't in school, but we really relied on those relationships in the school buildings, and then would communicate with families when we needed. When school buildings closed and students were at home, it was necessary for us to communicate directly with families first, and then communicate with their child, from that. And so it's really allowed us to address some of the needs, basic resource needs that we might not have even known about before, but because we're directly communicating with families, we're able to do that. A lot of our work with helping families with distance learning is individualized. What does your family need? Sometimes that's, we received internet or we got a hotspot from the school district, but I have 5 kids and I'm also doing work online. We need another hotspot. Or I have 5, last week we bought a bunch of headphones and we're looking to do a bulk order because there is so many families with multiple kids trying to do distance learning at the same time. A lot of our case management is individualized. So some of that tangible needs that's individual, but also, working with whoever the academic coach in the family is, might not be a parent, but maybe an older sibling or someone else, grandparent, to help strategize around schedules and needs. But I think I know we're almost a month in, but I think we're still too new to figure out what are our proactive supports specific to distance learning that are going to be. Part of our model is addressing individualized needs. And then when we see a theme, like headphones, for example, when we see a theme, then being proactive in our approach and trying to provide proactively, a social emotional learning group that we're doing for our middle school. We knew that was going to be a challenge for our young people, just connecting with peers in a safe way. So building in some additional proactive supports once we hear from families a theme.
Edith? You're on mute.
Students that have their own laptops or somehow have computer access in the district or that you work with. Do most of the kids have them?
The school district has provided one-to-one technology for our students. It's just a laptop. A lot of our work the last 2 months has been helping schools distribute technology to school.
Okay.
Students. So for students who weren't able to pick up, we've dropped off laptops and have been there to distribute when they need things.
Well, that's cool. Thank you very much. That answers that question.
Yep. We still have some families, though, that have not received technology, and it's weeks in. But it's about the coordination of getting them the supports, the thing that they need.
Right.
That really is the work of communities and schools. It's not just technology. We know there's resources out there, but there's so many barriers to our students and families accessing those resources sometimes.
I was having a little trouble just tracking the difference between the case managed group that you're talking about versus all the students in the district. So when you're talking about the need with the headphones and such, I guess which group are we talking about?
I mean, the specific family that we bought headphones for last week are students that attend a school, but that we don't case manage.
Mm-hmm.
So our model is about multi-tiered system of support. So we provide some basic need, school-wide, open to everyone. Basically, you can think of things that we wouldn't need a consent form to provide for, right? If we don't need consent form to really build a relationship individual with a student, then we can provide those types of services and supports. After school tutoring when school was in session was another example. Open to every kid in the school that could come for tutoring. And then we case manage somewhere between 5 and 10% of the total school population. And those are students that get one-on-one support and also participate in group activities and who can be matched with a mentor.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah.
That is all the time we have, but really appreciate your being here this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So we got 3 in the waiting room. I know Russ is with community healthcare. I'm going to let Sam and Elizabeth in really quick and just see what organization they're with. So I'm going to go with Sam first. I'm going to ask him a quick.
Okay.
Hi, Sam. Can I don't think you could respond to me in the waiting room. What organization are you with? Hi, Sam. What organization are you with?
I'm so sorry. This has my husband's name on it. My name's Marjorie Page. I'm with Community Healthcare.
Oh, okay, great. And then is Elizabeth going to be with you as well? Do you have a team coming today, apparently?
We do. I don't know that I have an Elizabeth. I have a Russ, and our CEO, David, I think is going to join us.
Okay, Russ and David are on. There's an Elizabeth. I'm going to admit everybody, and we'll see ready to go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, is everyone here with community health?
David and Marjorie aren't here yet, but I can go ahead.
Yeah, Russ, we're here.
Oh yeah, it looks like they're
There's
here.
Marjorie. Okay, David, are you here?
I think he's connecting to audio, it looks like.
Okay, how you doing, Marjorie?
I'm doing great.
All right, and Elizabeth, you're also with community healthcare?
No, I'm with Emergency Food Network.
Okay, okay.
Hi, Elizabeth.
So Elizabeth, I'm gonna drop you back into the waiting room then. Sorry for moving you around.
It's okay.
We can go ahead and start with Marjorie, and she can tell us about the services, and then when David's connected, David's right here, so David can start us off.
All right, perfect. I'll just introduce our board first. I'm Sarah, chair of the City of Lakewood Community Services Advisory Board, and joined by board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne this evening. So we'll have 3 minutes for you to present and then some time after for questions, so whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you very much. I'm David Clenchey. I'm the CEO of Community Healthcare. The intro really is that we have been providing healthcare services in Lakewood since 1979, and 2 different sites. One was the Lakewood Community Center, and since 2003, we've been in our current location on Gravelly Lake Drive, the old city council or city hall, and we're very much tied to the city of Lakewood. We have been receiving human services dollars since the city was first established, and we very much appreciate that partnership that we've had with you guys in Lakewood. With me tonight are Marjorie Page, who is our Vice President for Behavioral Health Services, and Russ Sonker, who's our Marketing and Development Manager. So we don't have too much time, so I'm going to turn it over to Marjorie, and she can tell you about the program that we're requesting funding for.
Hi. So I'll go as brief as I can of a recap of a kind of summary of our program. We started our integrated behavioral health program in 2016. And for us, that integrated healthcare looks like we have master's level therapists that are integrated into each of our clinics on the primary care team. So in Lakewood, we have 2 behavioral health consultants that are in our Lakewood clinic. They're located on that site, the site that David is talking about. They share a medical record with the medical provider, and they see patients on a warm handoff basis, either whether it's scheduled or the same day, potentially even kind of popping into a patient's primary care provider visit. That happens by referral from a primary care provider when a behavioral health need is identified. And that could be a traditional behavioral health need like anxiety or depression or substance use, but it could also be a medical concern that has a behavioral health aspect like uncontrolled diabetes or chronic pain or something like that. And they get to work really closely with that medical team. We also have psych ARNPs on our team that help with medication management if patients need a higher level of medication management than the primary care provider can provide. And at Lakewood, we have 1 psych ARNP that's helping. So we have 2 behavioral health consultants and 1 psych ARNP. One of those behavioral health consultants is also Spanish speaking, and that's important for our Lakewood clinic because we have a couple of providers that speak Spanish, and being able to provide those services in a language that somebody speaks, we know is so important. And we're excited to do that. During COVID, we kind of, like everybody else, navigated COVID by switching up our services a little bit and providing our behavioral health services by phone or telehealth, and some in person too, if that's necessary for whatever reason for the patient. So we kind of have a mix of different types of visits going on right now. That's my timer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Open to the board for questions. Yep, Deanne.
How often do you interact with the police department and the fire department?
In our behavioral health department or as an agency on the whole?
As an emergency circumstance or as something, I'm just curious how frequently and how you interact with them.
Absolutely. So I would say my hope is that with the behavioral health consultants in the clinic that gets pushed off a little bit further away to the last resort, because our behavioral, and at least I can speak to a behavioral health emergency or a mental status emergency or things like that, which sometimes do end up calling EMS or the police department. But generally a behavioral health consultant is involved in those situations and hopefully can help de-escalate them and work with the primary care provider that the patient hopefully has some kind of rapport built with already. But occasionally we do interact with emergency services in that way, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
My question was really around youth in the community. Going over the application, it showed that you have a smaller youth percentage that you work with. So do you have a youth unit? Mental health doesn't matter what age you are, there's individuals needing services. So do you have, how does that work for you?
100%. That's a really great question that I'm glad you asked. At our Lakewood clinic, we have a pediatrician. Well, one of our pediatricians works in our Lakewood clinic. We actually have 2 in our organization, and the behavioral health consultants that work with our pediatrician, like at Lakewood, get to see kids a lot more than the other behavioral health consultants, as you could imagine. So we work on screening and those primary care visits with kids to help identify behavioral health needs. We are in the process of kind of building up our ACEs screening to identify adverse childhood experiences, and work really closely with the pediatrician to identify those kids early on, hopefully, and build those relationships. Working with parents a lot happens with young kiddos, as you can imagine. So that happens quite a lot at our Lakewood clinic because all of our primary care providers see kids, but our pediatrician obviously sees more. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all we have. Really appreciate a very thorough presentation.
It's like speed dating. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
I'm just checking my email. I'm pretty sure there's one other person we're waiting for from EFN.
Okay.
Let's check real quick. Oh, I forgot to put the list in the chat, but I'll do that this time around, which means after this, so we're doing EFN next, and then after that is Greater Lakes. So then Deanne, you'll be on after this one. Well, it's 2 minutes till, and I can't find that email, so we can just let her in. And if she's waiting for somebody else, we can let her know. But we told them to be here 5 to 10 minutes ahead of time, so it might just be her.
Okay.
Should we let her in?
Sure.
All right. All right, all yours.
Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome
Hello.
back.
Thank you.
Will there be anyone else joining you this evening?
It will just be me.
Okay, great. We can get started then if that works for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. My name is Sarah. I'm chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board. And with me are board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne. So I'd love to hear your presentation, and then we'll try to leave about 5 minutes at the end for any questions.
That sounds good.
So
Thank
whenever
you.
you're ready.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate this. So my name is Elizabeth Howe. I'm the development director at Emergency Food Network, and we are asking tonight for you to consider a grant of $25,000 for EFN. So EFN is the primary nonprofit food distributor here in Pierce County. We have a network of over 70 partner food programs, hot meal sites, and shelters. And every single month, we distribute over 1 million pounds of food to them at absolutely no cost. So the funding from the city of Lakewood would go to support our co-op food purchasing program. And this program provides our partners with a consistent supply of stable food. So prior to starting this program, only 67% of our partners were telling us that they were able to provide an adequate supply of food for the community members that they're serving. And then this program was started in 2010. And as of the survey that was done last year, 93% of our partners are saying that they are able to have an adequate supply of food thanks to our co-op program. So EFN has really been working to respond to, the impact that COVID has had on our community, and some of the ways that we have been doing that. So in 2009, EFN distributed 1.5 million pounds of food to residents here in Lakewood, and that was all of 2019. As of August 2020, we have already distributed 1.6 million pounds of food. As of in 2019, the city of Lakewood was seeing roughly 11,300 visits to the food banks that we serve in this area. Now we are seeing an average of 13,000 visits to food banks here in Lakewood. So it's up by about 2,000 visits every single month. So our food purchasing budget for 2019 is $394,000 for the entire year in 2020. We have now spent, as of August, $1.3 million just on purchasing food for our partner programs here in Pierce County. The other big way we have responded to this crisis is we, in May, the middle of May, started a home delivery program to reach some of the most vulnerable members of our community. So the program has been going on a couple months now. We deliver food to 180 families every single week, which makes up about 640 community members throughout Pierce County, and the program is just continuing to grow. So we are very grateful for the funding that we have received in the past for Lakewood, but we are also very grateful for the long-standing partnership that we have had. We most recently benefited from some local PPE equipment and face masks that were courtesy of the Gimhe government. So we are incredibly grateful for that, and also for this opportunity for you guys to consider this grant request. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'm curious about the delivery program. Do you see that extending past the COVID environment, or is that more specifically in response to the current situation?
Yeah, we have every intention of continuing on this program. We knew that there was a need for this in the community, and we just didn't know how much so until this happened. But, we try to have a very high standard for this program. So we contact every single family weekly to check in on them, to see how they're doing and to see how things are going. And the responses that we're hearing make us know that we need to continue this program.
Thank you.
Mm.
Anything else from the board?
No questions.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your work and your being here this evening.
I appreciate this opportunity, and all of you have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
All right, JG in the waiting room is Jan from LASA. So she's on a bit early. I just messaged her and let her know. We might let her in a little bit early, but she's gonna be hanging on. So while it's just us here, let me put this list in real quick. Request. All right, that's the remaining list.
Okay.
So we can. Greater Lakes. Yeah, it's like 5 minutes ahead. Makes sense they're not on yet. Okay. How y'all feeling? Halfway through.
So what time is Greater Lakes supposed to be here?
6:10.
Oh, 6:10.
Yeah.
So they should be jumping on. Because yeah, I said 5 to 10 minutes early. I have a bunch of voicemails, and I thought there might be someone saying they're going to be late, like Asia, but they're all from fiscal, so not us.
Okay.
Or so far. Okay. No one heard messages, no emails from Asian Pacific Cultural Center, so I think they're just not going to be on. So.
Okay.
That's right. 6:07. So if no one from Greater Lakes shows up, actually, you know what? If you guys want, since Jan is here, we could go ahead and start with LASA, and then if Greater Lakes jumps on, we could have them go after LASA.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I would support that. Yeah.
Let's let Jan in, and then we'll ask and make sure, because she might be waiting for uni, but let's just bring her in and ask. Hi, Jan, if you're on, we don't have our 610 group here yet. So since you were on, we wanted to see if you'd be ready to go now, or if you're still waiting for somebody.
If you can give me a minute to find my camera.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room.
Okay.
So if they show up in the next minute while you're doing that, we'll grab them. But if they're not here in 1 minute, I'll bring you back.
Okay.
Here we go. I'm playing God this evening, putting people in and out of the waiting room as I feel like it. All right, 609, let's do it.
Okay.
I see you.
You want some help?
Did I get it?
Oh, there we are. I can see you now.
Yay! I thought I brushed my hair for no reason there for a minute.
Well, thank you. Appreciate your patience.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Sarah, the chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and with me are board members Lori, Edith, and Deanne. We're very excited to hear from you. So we'll just hear your presentation, and then we'll have a couple of minutes after for questions.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come and speak about LASA and our prevention program. And I know that Edith knows a lot about us. I don't know if everyone else does, but we've been providing services to prevent homelessness and really just to make life a little bit better and more comfortable for people living on the edge for over a quarter of a century. And in the application, along with a few other little typos, I put that it was a new application. So sorry, or a new program. It's not. Back in 1996, Lakewood became a city, and I feel a little bit of a kinship because that's when I joined LASA. And not long after that, the city started to designate 1% of its general fund to services to keep Lakewood a terrific place to live. And tonight, I would like to share with you the difference that 1% made to LASA. And at the same time, I think that will help explain why I think it's good to continue to invest in LASA. At the time, I was the only employee. I wore many hats, and I had 3 offices, really. I had a shared desk at St. Francis Cabrini, had a desk in my kitchen, and then my 1993 Saturn, and I don't mean that facetiously. I did have my files in there. And actually, McDonald's met the clients over at the McDonald's off the freeway. Now we have a huge client services center where we have a lot, when we're not COVID impacted, we have a lot of services such as the computer lab and so on, along with all the different housing that we have in Lakewood and throughout Pierce County. A few years ago, we took a look at ourselves and realized that our housing had grown and grown and grown, and it was 10 times as big as it was as when I started, but our prevention services were the same size. And we thought there was something wrong with that picture. And sorry, but I'm nervous. And I said I was going to tell you why I thought that your funds were so important. So I am going to go back a little bit for a minute and say that it was your funding, that 1% funding, that allowed us to go after our first grant to get a part-time case manager. And that part-time case manager allowed me then to go after all of these other programs and HUD housing and so on. And that's why we grew so big. But that's when we decided and realized that our prevention programs had not kept up with us. So we took a look at that and we decided it was time to really start putting more energy into prevention, because no matter how big we get, no matter how many housing programs we have, the homeless program problem seems to get bigger and bigger. We would like to start working on, when you talk about what's happened since COVID-19, we closed our doors to the public immediately, but we never stopped coming in. We never stopped doing services. And we do services by appointment or by phone. I want to tell you something that just happened to us a couple of weeks ago to give you a sense of who we are and how we can be important to the city. We were asked to do rental assistance for the city of Lakewood, also for the city of Tacoma. And at the same time, we had a major sewer backup, and it destroyed a third of our building. Despite the fact that we had everything blocked off, we had no place to work. We had 3 men in here in hazmat suits. And if you want, during the question and answer, I can take my camera and show you around the place. We didn't let it stop us. We rented a house right behind us and sent our folks over there to work. And, you know, a question that we get asked is, well, why didn't people work remotely? Well, a lot of our staff did work remotely, but when you have a brand new employee, and we had to bring on new employees to do the rental assistance, you can't say, hi, today's your first day, good luck. We had to bring them in. And we are still committed to keeping ourselves healthy, as well as our new employees, as well as the public. So we needed all this extra space, and yet we had shrunk in half. We didn't miss a beat. We got checks. We got 75 checks out that week, and I'm pretty proud of us. And I'm a modest person. I don't brag about us, but I will say that Lakewood is our home. Lakewood is our heart, and we are committed to helping people in Lakewood. And I think that it's important to continue to invest in us. I know you have a lot of opportunities to provide for a lot of people, but I wanted to tell you what we've been through. One reason is because we don't have a lot of staff. We don't have a lot of marketing. So the world doesn't know that we were here, and we never missed a beat. And we're still having people come in, and we're able to give them linens and able to give them blankets and essential needs and so on and so on. We're not able to let them come in and use the computer labs. We're not able to do everything we would like to do, but we are moving forward where we're able to. Oh, it says start my video. I don't know if my video went off.
No, it looks like we
Okay.
still have you with us. Yeah, thank you so much. I do want to take a moment to ask the board if there are any questions. So we're running a little bit short on time. Okay, big question. So love to hear your thoughts, but you're talking about how the problem, problems with housing just growing bigger. What is your vision for the future of your prevention program?
We lost her.
I couldn't quite understand the program.
Oh, I'm sorry. The future of the prevention program. You said prevention isn't quite keeping up with the rest of services.
Well, we are beginning to keep up. We're doing more and more. And I am taking, you asked me questions, so I'm going to take you into our boardroom, which was recently destroyed with the sewage problem, and show you what I think what part of the vision is. And I mean, here's the damage to, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this is the fabulous opportunity for us to, I've been wanting to put a laundry in here. And I'm thinking the opportunity to do that is now. So I am sharpening my pencil to see if I can come up with the funds to for a couple of people here and there, but we haven't really publicized it. But I see this room as possibly being, and I'm not promising this because I don't know if I can make it happen, but we do want to have the laundry at some point. We do have an architectural drawings, and we do have some funds raised towards a laundry. But I'm looking at this room now thinking this would be a better space for it. It would allow us to keep all of our services in one spot. And I think with the people that we serve, it's really critical to be able to keep everybody in one spot. And then and people have asked me, well, why don't you just give somebody a token to go to the laundromat? And I'm thinking, because we're not about clean laundry. We are about the whole person. And we're about making a relationship with somebody. Maybe somebody comes in and tells us their story the first day we meet them. Maybe it takes them a year to share that story with us. But the whole idea is to get somebody connected to Greater Lakes Mental Health, to our own housing, to whatever. So our mission has been twofold throughout the years: prevent homelessness and prevent recurrent homelessness. And I really think our mission is growing into a third leg, because the world has changed and there's people on the street that need services now. And by the way, I've got people looking in the window, looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm talking to my computer. So I'll walk over here.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have, so I'm sorry to cut you off there, but really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'm not sure if everybody had kind of a technical, if it was on her side.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'd really like to figure out what they're doing on the policy side. If homelessness and prevention of and wanting to change that, how active are they in like increased rents that people are facing and short, availability of housing options and that sort of thing. And Edith is laughing.
Deanne, you weren't supposed to hear that chuckle.
Brian, would it be possible to send a question and email as follow-up, just acknowledging the connection difficulties and just saying this is, a little bit more that the board wanted to ask?
I don't think we can unless we gave everybody the opportunity to ask some email, some follow-up questions. And we did give her kind of an extra minute to make up for we put some more time on the board to make up for the freezing issues. So
Okay.
While we have a minute and we're waiting so we have 4 more. We're waiting for Lindquist to sign on. While we're waiting, would you all be? You know what? Would you all want to? Would you all want to meet in person and just stay, social distance? Because there's only 7 of us. So Brandon had to resign from the board. He's got just too much going on. So there's only 6 active members, and then I would be there. There's only 7 of us. I don't know if everybody wants to meet in person, and then we don't have to do the digital thing. And then we would obviously use the council chambers, and 7 of us can easily stay very, very distanced in the council chambers, and we'd all wear masks. So I don't know if you all how you all feel, if you want to do this virtually, the deliberations meeting in 2 weeks, or if you want to do this virtually.
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
Same, no preference.
It's okay either way for me.
Okay. I'll ask the group tomorrow. I guess it's just Michael and John, so we'll ask them tomorrow. If it's okay with everybody, I think I would, and everybody wants to do that, I think in person would just be much easier to have the conversation in the council chambers. So we'll figure that out tomorrow.
So what happened to Greater Lakes?
Just didn't jump on.
Took care of that.
Just got cocky about their application, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so Lindquist should be on any time, and then we'll just let them right in when they jump in.
Okay.
Was it Lindquist last time that was looking for money to help with like their non-English speaking clients and families? Or was that a different? Maybe it wasn't Lindquist. It was last funding cycle, and I can't remember.
Are you talking about Project Access?
No, I thought it was a doctor's office or mental health.
So Project isn't, they're not a direct office, but Project Access is the one that connects doctors to folks that have insurance and they have a significant non-English speaking demographic.
Oh, maybe it was that. So I just was getting them confused.
But that could be Lindquist also.
I think Leanne, Deanne, it was the Access Project, which that's the one that does the docs, I think. And I think that was the one.
And they didn't have an application this year?
They're up tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Okay. It was nice not having to read all of them, but I feel like I'm missing a component too at the same time.
I read them all.
Yeah, the three of you did. That's why, if we could do it in person, and any way we can make the deliberations conversation, that's kind of the trade-off, right? Is having everybody read fewer applications means you can kind of dig into those more. But I want to make sure the deliberations conversation is robust, because we're going to have to, I think some of the people that read, one half of them might want to advocate for some of the ones that they read that the other half didn't read. So I want to make sure we have room for that. Carolyn's on. Should we let her in and see if she's waiting for somebody else? Or, oh, and Karen, yeah, both are here. Let's let them in and see if they're ready to go.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. It looks like we do have you rotated horizontally.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see if we can do this. I was just going to say that about you.
Oh, now you're straight up and down.
I know. I just don't know if I can, let's see, do this, because I'm trying to look at my documents as well as this. So 1 second here. Okay. Maybe that'll work. Sorry. I thought I had it all set up, but that's
no
not
worries.
good.
Let us know whenever you're ready.
Okay, maybe you might be looking up my nose, but okay. Can you see me now? Or
yep, I can see you.
Is that okay? Okay. All right. Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you for being here this evening. My name's Sarah. I'm the chair of the City of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and joined here by board members Deanne, Lori, and Edith this evening. So I'd love to hear your presentation, and then we'll have a few minutes after for questions.
Great.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, thank you. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Carolyn Wyrick, and I'm the president and CEO of Lindquist Dental Clinic for Children. I've had that honor for 19 years now. With me also on this call, I think, I haven't seen her, but is our Director of Business Operations, Karen Segrist. Is she on the call? Do you see?
We can see Karen.
Okay, I'm here. Perfect. Awesome. So thank you all for your dedication to our community, especially during these unprecedented and trying times. Our mission at Lindquist is to provide accessible, compassionate, and effective dental care to Puget Sound children in need, ages 0 through 20, and we turn no child away due to their family's inability to pay. Our request of $15,000 from the City of Lakewood would specifically be used to support at minimum 125 low-income City of Lakewood children through our uncompensated care fund. And Brian Humphreys has recommended that we might want to use our time to address how our program delivery has changed since COVID-19. So in 2019, we provided dental care to 4,305 unique City of Lakewood children through our clinic and our through our clinical and school-based services. In 2020, as many of you are well aware, we were mandated to be closed by Governor Inslee for approximately 2 months. And that was March, mid-March through mid-May, pretty much. And with reopening, we have a whole new landscape of extra and time-intensive and more costly precautions and safety measures as we want to, of course, adhere to and provide. With just this closure time alone, we anticipate approximately a 20% reduction based on the 2 months closure of our clinical services. Thus far, we've provided 551 unique patient visits to City of Lakewood children, and we estimate clinically, and we are estimating based on our 2.5 visit per child average, about 1,375 visits in 2020. The big difference in those numbers, as you may have seen in the application, is that we've also only been able to provide through our school-based services 695 visits that would be in our spring portion of the school year in 2020. And of course, the schools are now closed. And we provide a lot of services. We, through our school-based program specifically for City of Lakewood children as well. We provide all of the JBLM school-based services as with dental services, as well as the Clover Park District school-based dental services, screenings as well. And we are in discussion actually with the school districts at this point about what that might look like for at least the spring of 2021. As you all are aware, you know, every school district is looking at kind of different models and what that might look like, but we are in discussion about being able to get into the schools and provide school-based services for City of Lakewood children. At this point, clinically, we've added so many additional safety measures where there's additional costs attached to all that. And we've also, our appointment times have increased because of all the additional safety measures and precautions that we've had to put into place. So we're hoping as we move forward that we improve in the efficiencies of this as we move our new COVID-19 reality. We also know that the impact of COVID-19 has been fiscally devastating for so many families. And we know that so many have lost jobs, and we're seeing an increase of patients that have never had to access services through Medicaid, or even if they don't have that, like trying to figure out how they're going to get their children's services when they've lost their jobs. And we want to continue to be able to fulfill our mission. And we appreciate the support that we've had in the past from the City of Lakewood. And hopefully we will continue to have that support so that we can continue this vital service for the children in need in our community.
Thank you so much. I'll open it up to the board for questions. Great. Well, you mentioned that there's a lot of increased need with new unemployment, and I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the outreach you're doing for new clients, or just how people are finding you in this new environment.
Right. I think that that is something that we're continuing to explore how we can do that. We've reached out through letter contact with our our current patients, but also just trying to figure out how to promote with such the limited contacts that people have, so through, social media type of things and our community partners, and just trying to find new ways to, what does that look like? So Karen, do you want to jump in on any of that? We had some other ads and some
we've got those, but then a lot of it has generated through the existing partnerships that we have. So for instance, Lakewood's Choice has a service directory, and a lot of the schools and their family care centers and the staff at the schools. And just through those existing relationships that we have, we've seen that that's where a lot of the families are reaching out to is some of the other community organizations, which then are aware of us, so then they refer people our way. Or some of the ones we've seen are just people doing a search for, dentists that with no insurance, if you have no insurance, what dentist can you go to, or things like that. But the existing community partners that we have relationships with have been some of the larger referrals that we've been seeing over the past few months.
Thank you. Edith?
What about the food bank?
Yeah, we connect. Oh, go ahead, Karen.
Okay.
That's among the resources that that are doing the referral. We've we send our material, and I know Nourish is fairly familiar with us at their different locations, and at some different points in times, we've even had people at some of the banks on some of the days, and just through those areas also. And then we also partner with some of the different backpack programs, or places that are providing lunches for the kids that have the free and reduced, that are getting them through other ways. So we'll provide our information in those areas also.
Yeah, thank you.
And you had just mentioned early on that when closing under Governor Inslee's directive, it's been more costly reopening, and with all the precautions and the extra safety measures you have to put in. Are you anticipating using this funding to help cover some of those costs and the more costly kind of getting things together? Are you seeking additional funding, or are you just absorbing that somewhere?
No, this funding specifically that we're asking for would be specifically for City of Lakewood children, for kind of the uncompensated care for people that don't have insurance or coverage, or don't have need a procedure that's not covered by that. We're looking at other resources for some of those other the additional PPE costs, and we've applied for all of the usual suspects, and that's as far as EIDL loans and the PPP program, which we've already expended for resources for staffing, etc. But we're, in fact, we're approved to pick up some additional at a site for some of those additional costs. So those kinds of things, applying for those types of grants for those additional costs, but this is not for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're about at time, so thank you for joining us this evening, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you. We appreciate you and your dedication. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
I'm talking to you and I'm muted, of course. So the two in the waiting room are from Laureen's place. You ready for them?
Yep.
All right, let's bring them in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm Sarah, chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and hello. Joined here by board members Edith, Lori, and Deanne this evening. So love to hear from you, just a brief summary of your program, and then we'll have a couple minutes after for questions.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. So Lakewood, Lorraine's Place 2 is a child placing agency out of the state of Washington, and we work with children that have a relationship with Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services. And we've been doing that for the last 10 years. And so the last couple of years, because of our central location in Lakewood and trying to keep our kids in the community there, we were asked to take on the Lakewood Family Support Center. And so we have done that by giving out resources, parenting, holding parenting forums and meetings and classes and resources for the community. And so we really try to service the community in Lakewood, depending on what things they need. And then if we can't get it, we ask our community partners for that resource. So that was a little short, brief one.
Yeah, thank you.
3 sentences,
Yes.
like the application.
Can you tell us a little bit more about just what it means to be a family support center and just a little more detail of those programs?
Yes. So the Lakewood, the Lakewood Family Support Center grew really out of the need of just our communities, right? Because Lakewood is pretty much the melting pot in each different section. The one thing that we learned from working with the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services is that Tillicum, Woodbrook, the Central Lakewood, they all needed different things. And so just trying to meet their needs, that's what we did. And so when you have a family support center, so let's take, for example, Springbrook might need food resources and diapers and things like that right there. We've gathered those resources to make sure that those families have them. If those resources, if those people needed telehealth, like during this COVID situation, some people, were having tough times. And so we had to connect them with resources that they provided telehealth services, to people over the computer. Sometimes it required a little bit more where we had to send out a support staff just to go out and meet with the family outside of their home just to say, hey, are you okay? How are things happening? What do we need to do to support you and that kind of stuff? So really gathering resources and advocating for the families that we serve, as well as making sure that we're meeting their needs from a mental health standpoint, and as well as a financial resource for the family. Some people, hey, they might have been short where families stopped working. So we connected them with resources that could help pay rent during this time and that kind of stuff. Yes, ma'am. And then the other side, okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
So, and the other side is that our biggest component in how we grew to Family Support Center was that we have a lot of children that come out of those areas, and just Lakewood in general, with Child Protective Services, and really making sure they have the resources necessary to get back to their home community and with their family. So even when they leave CPS's door, they still have a positive connection back to their community that they can come on, that they can depend on, and we can point them in the right direction.
Thank you. I'll open for questions from the board. Well, I'm wondering, you're talking about, very different needs across different communities. I guess, how are you looking at that kind of proactively, or is it more in response to individuals as they approach you?
So when we talk about children that come into Child Protective Services in that area, there are certain areas where we're getting an influx of children and families. So we kind of highlight those areas, or we kind of put our resources there. But the good thing about our resources is that they're free, right? That they never cost anybody. So we promote them out like, hey, anybody can use this resources. If you need diapers, if you need wipes, if you need formula, let us know. And so we kind of just disseminate the information everywhere and throughout Lakewood. And sometimes we get families outside of it, but we really try to focus on Lakewood because that's our catchment area, and that's the area where we try to make sure our kids get back to. So unfortunately, we do have a lot of kids that come from the Woodbrook area and the Springbrook area that have had a lot of run-ins with CPS or kids in threat of being removed. So we've kind of heavily focused on that, but that's not our only area. We partner with the whole base, and everybody knows that they can get the services across the board, and we make sure that everybody knows that.
Thank you. Deanne?
So you mentioned in the application about your staff currently operating the Family Support Center, but also delegating their time to, different areas. And part of your budget was asking for like 25% of an FTE to manage. How many staff do you currently have? Is that realistic with how many people you currently have, and allocating them from a child placement direct service to another area?
Yes, because right now we all work remotely from home. And so what we saw from us, pretty much, I don't want to say that foster care is shut down because it never shuts down, right? But the reality of it is that everybody is working from home. But then we saw an influx in our community base where our families were needing resources, they were needing diapers and things like that. And so immediately our care coordinators and our support staff sprung into action in terms of, well, this is what we're going to do with our time. And so we have that flexibility because our kids are pretty much stable and they do what they need to do. We just allocate it. I mean, it's been there. The kids that we have, we don't have high need kids where we have to spend 100% of our time on those children at this time. We have the ability, and we've increased it more so with COVID, of just making sure our community is flooded with resources and things like that. So our staff have, even during this COVID period from March till now, have taken on, they've done a parenting triple P group. They've done telehealth. They've been delivering diapers. You know, you depend on it. They just spring into action. So yeah, we have 15 staff, and we have 10 that are care coordinators and support staff. And I know that was fast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think that's all we have, but I really appreciate your coming to spend time with us this evening.
Okay, thank you so much for having us. Bye-bye.
I don't know what it is, but I'm having a hard time communicating today. I feel like I'm struggling to get it out. It's been a long day, I think.
Yep. I'm feeling that way through this whole pandemic.
Well, thank you for doing all you do, Sarah, and holding us along.
Oh, thank you.
Sarah's a rock star. She's doing both nights.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. There you go.
Keep us awake.
All right, just two more. You ready for Andrea?
Yep.
Let's bring her in.
Hi, Andrea. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yep. Are we going to have video, or if not, that's okay. Just want to.
No, we should. I don't know. Hold on. Why it's
Okay.
not? Let me start my video. I don't know why it's not doing it. It says can't start video. Failed to start video camera. Please select another camera setting. Wow. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, there you are.
Can you see me?
Yep. Oh, flashed on for a moment.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna use my phone if it doesn't start. Come on. Okay, let me go to my second mechanism. Gotta back up. Hi, Andrea.
Hello. Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch right fast. Hold on. Let me turn off one. So I'm gonna go off of here. Okay, that should be much better. There we go.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here. Oh. Hello?
Did my video stop?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, there I am.
Okay. Well, as long as you can hear us.
Okay, here we go. I don't know.
All right. I'm Sarah, chair of Lakewood's Community Services Advisory Board, and we have board members Deanne, Edith, and Lori here with us this evening. So I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about your program, and then we'll have some time at the end for questions.
Awesome. So I'm Andrea Blue, the President CEO of Making a Difference Foundation, and we own Eloise Cooking Pot Food Bank. Eloise Cooking Pot Food Bank is where it's actually located in the food desert. We don't have any type of grocery stores within 2 to 3 radius around it. Eloise Cooking Pot is actually the largest independent food bank with the largest delivery system here in Pierce County. Since COVID-19, we served over 246,000 people, along with over 72,000 households, serving about $3.7 million in food. Eloise Cooking Pot has a delivery center, along with we have a mobile food bank service, which serves about 45% of our populations. We have small food banks within 10 schools within Tacoma Public School District. We are also at the Juvenile Hall Court, along with in partnership with 3 other not-for-profits that provide services. We also have a transition or homeless backpack program. And we do service to quite a few senior buildings throughout Pierce County. And that also includes our mobile going to Lakewood. About a year ago, we were serving about 8,000, a little bit over 8,000 people in Lakewood. We began serving people in Lakewood because we had a volunteer who used to work at our food bank for over a year for 40 hours a week, and he got sick and he needed us to bring him some food. We brought him food and saw the conditions of his community around him, and decided that we would serve him along with everyone within 2 to 3 mile radius of him. We've been doing that for the last 6 years. And since COVID-19, our numbers have increased 3 times as high now in Lakewood, which we're serving now 3 times a week with mobile service and also with delivery service. Since COVID-19, we already had, we have a Latino delivery route. We have also 2 routes actually in Lakewood that we deliver to through the delivery system along. Then with the transitional backpack program, which is our homeless backpack program, our van goes through 3 days a week to serve the populations there. So that's what we're about.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you covered a lot of programs. Can you say a little bit more about how you envision the specific funding being used?
It would be used with regards to the mobile service and the transitional program. We call it transitional because we're all 1 paycheck from being homeless, and I just do not like the word homeless. To be able to continue to purchase food. Food is very expensive when you're talking about delivering to the homeless. I'll show you, we have these backpacks. We actually, hopefully you can see it. Probably not. Something weird is happening. But we have these backpacks, which is about 25 pounds of food that we fill out, and the truck actually goes out and fill them up. I love this little backpack thing. It has their personal hygiene stuff. It also has at least 3 days of meals in it. They may get MREs, but the type of food in which they get is food that they can either pop open the can or pop open the lid, add water. Self-heating. It has to be all stuff that they can carry without it being a burden in water. The food for the, it's amazing. Mac and cheese in a box is 39 cents. When you want it in a container that adds water to it, it becomes 79 cents. So the food is very, very expensive when it comes to convenience and being able to travel with it. So we'll be using those funds to continually be able to provide food for them through COVID-19, along with we're providing people, obviously, their PPE, also other mechanisms so they can remain safe, like hygiene products. That's really big right now for people who unfortunately have to be on the street. They're kind of like the forgotten. They need PPE, they need hand sanitizer, they need more mechanism because they're moving quite a bit. We want to make sure they're able to move with their food and be safely in doing that.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
I think that. Okay.
Sorry for the silence. I was just skimming through the application again. No, I mean, I really appreciate your presentation. And if there are no more questions, then we won't need to keep you.
I just have one question. Cost of the bag?
Sure, can you tell us a little bit about that?
The cost of the bag. The cost of each bag is around about $15 to $17, depending on hygiene, if it's a male bag versus a female bag. That's the cost of it. Also, actually pulled your zip code. And right now, we're serving each month about, hold on, I just pulled it, sorry. About 4,000 people. The 60% of them are people between the ages of 19 and 0. The other big population, obviously, is the adult population between 21 and 54. Thank God the percentage of seniors is low, because I hate to be a senior out there. But unfortunately, a lot of people are in a situation where they need food. Just last week on our route, we also served the motels in the area, because a lot of people are now forced into motels because of COVID-19 and can only have a limited supply of food. So we're providing food to them also. But it's a pretty daunting task, because there's so many people who are either in trailers, or we were just at a building that was demolished 2 weeks ago. And it's like, what happened to, we were serving 30 plus families in the building. It's like, what happened to them? It's hard right now for people. It's very, very difficult. And like I said, this is one of the things that have come to me as we have been serving people. We all have PPE and it's readily available. We have mask cloths that we can wash each day. They don't have that, so they have to have disposable. Just having water to wash your hands or having some hand sanitizer, we're able to get it. But other people who are on the street, that's their last priority. Their first priority is making sure that they're safe and then that they have food. So it's pretty hard times for people out there, and we're committed to continually serving people. Even as they move, we move. Where they go, we go. So thank you guys for inviting us to tell our story, and it's an honor to serve the people over in Lakewood.
Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Okay, thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay, so we'll wait just a minute, just one more. Let's wait just a minute and see if Sue jumps on. Otherwise, that would be about it. All right, I think we can basically shut this down. Let me turn off the streaming real quick.